Every morning, while you're still under the covers, your dog makes a choice. They could stay on the couch. They could wait by the back door, or curl up in that patch of early sun by the window. Instead, they come to you, specifically to your face, and they stay, still, watching, for minutes at a time. Most people would say, well, the dog loves you, but love doesn't explain the stillness. Love doesn't explain why it's always the face, never the hands, never the feet. Something else is going on here. Something a lot older than love. We tell ourselves we know why they do it. Hungry, needs to go out, wants attention. And honestly, those explanations usually work. You check the bowl, you open the door, the behavior stops. Case closed. But here's what those explanations miss. They tell you what your dog wants in that moment. They tell you nothing about what your dog is doing with their eyes while they wait. Watch closely the next time it happens. Not the tail, not the paws, the eyes. Where they land, how long they stay. There's a quality to a dog's gaze that doesn't belong to hunger. Hunger is restless. It paces, it whines, it nudges your arm until you move. But this is focused, quiet, almost ceremonial, like something that has to happen before the day is allowed to begin. What your dog is doing in the language of animal cognition is called a face scan. They're taking inventory, checking that the features in front of them match the ones they've stored. The exact slope of your nose, the particular shape of your brow, the new lines around your mouth that weren't there 3 years ago, but that they registered anyway, updated, filed, every morning, without fail, without you ever once asking them to. Most dog owners go their whole lives without knowing this is happening. They see the staring and they think, sweet. They think, clingy. They think, this dog really loves me. And they move on. They never ask the deeper question, why? At a neurological level. Is a dog even capable of this? Why does their brain bother? What does it cost them? What does it mean? Here's what you're going to understand by the end of this. Your dog will not forget your face. Not when you travel, not when you're gone for months, not when you're old and your face has changed in ways you barely recognize yourself anymore. The science behind why that's true is stranger and more moving than anything I could have invented. And it starts in a brain scanner at Emory University. In 2015, researchers there placed dogs conscious, unrestrained, trained to lie still inside an MRI machine. They showed them images, human faces, everyday objects, a mix of both. What they were looking for wasn't just whether dogs could see faces. It was whether the canine brain had any specialized response to human faces specifically. Specialization. The kind of neural architecture that would mean faces aren't just things dogs see, but things dogs are built to read. What they found,
the hands are not what it came for, the feet are not what it came for.
Dogs showed activation.
The face is what it came for. This is the specific thing that matters.
Works almost identically to what we call the fusiform face area in humans. That's the part of our brain dedicated exclusively to recognizing faces.
The private,
Not
quiet
shapes,
world of this morning
not
ritual.
motion.
No one
Faces.
else knows this is
In
happening.
humans, damage to that region causes a condition called prosopagnosia, the inability to recognize faces, even your own in a mirror. It's one of the most disorienting neurological conditions there is, and dogs have the equivalent, developed, active, responding. And here's the thing wolves don't. Not like this. The researchers compared the data, and the structural difference was measurable. 15,000 years of living alongside us, sleeping in our shelters, learning our moods, surviving based on how well they could read our faces, had carved out a piece of neural real estate in the dog brain.
Ready for your checkup, buddy?
Dedicated to one thing, the human face. Your face.
You're being very brave.
Not faces in general. The face of the person they belong to. Processed with the same cognitive machinery we use to recognize each other. Your dog doesn't just see
Good boy,
you.
you're doing so well.
They have a part of their brain that exists for
Just
the
a little further
specific
in.
purpose of knowing you. Think about the weight of that. Not just the science, the weight. Every morning, before you've said a single word, before you've done one thing to deserve it, your dog has already confirmed something. That you're still there, that the face they carry inside them matches the face in front of them, that everything is still in order. That's not just affection. That's not habit. That is a living creature using your face as their first reference point for safety. Your face isn't just familiar to your dog. It's the map they use to know their home. And if that's true of their eyes, what's happening in the rest of their brain is even harder to hold. The same team at Emory ran a second study in 2014. This time they weren't looking at faces, they were looking at smell. Dogs went back into the scanner, and researchers introduced 5 different scents: a familiar dog, an unfamiliar dog, a stranger, the dog's own scent, and the scent of their owner. Then they watched for which scent triggered the strongest response in the caudate nucleus, the brain's reward center, the place that lights up for pleasure, for anticipation, for everything the brain has learned to associate with good things. The scent that activated it most wasn't food. It wasn't a dog they lived with. It was the owner. Every single time. The smell of you, the specific, unrepeatable chemical signature that is yours, produces more reward activity in your dog's brain than almost anything else they'll encounter in a day. You are, neurologically speaking, their greatest source of good. Think about that for a second. Now carry that finding back 15,000 years, because this bond, this precise, exquisite attunement between a dog's brain and a human face, it didn't show up overnight. It was built across millennia of proximity, of mutual survival, of two species slowly learning to read each other so well that the reading eventually became biology. In the Bonn-Oberkassel region of Germany, archaeologists uncovered a grave dating back roughly 14,000 years. Inside a man, a woman, and a dog. The dog had been severely ill, sick enough that surviving would have required months of deliberate human care. Someone fed it. Someone sat with it. And when it died, they buried it between them, with their hands reaching toward it. We were memorizing each other before we had words for what we were doing. Before cities. Before writing. Before any of the things we use to record what matters, we were already keeping each other. Your dog learned your face because somewhere deep in their lineage, knowing your face meant living another day. This isn't a modern convenience. It's an old, old story. And you are part of it. So let's bring it close. Back to the dog in your house right now. The one who does that thing with their head when you laugh, or follows you from room to room like a small furry shadow. Because the memorization they're doing, the daily face scan, the scent mapping, the neural updating, it leaves traces in their behavior. Little things that are easy to miss until you know what you're looking at. The first one happens in the morning, before the glasses, before the coffee, before whatever version of yourself you put together before the rest of the world sees you. Your dog looks at you then, right at your face, and doesn't look away. The messy, unguarded, unglamorous version of you. That's the one they find most worth studying. They're not waiting for you to become something. They already know exactly what they're looking at. The second is the head tilt. You change your expression, something surprises you. Or you laugh unexpectedly. Or your face does that particular thing it does when you're trying very hard not to cry and your dog tilts their head. Just slightly. Like a small recalibration. That's not confusion. That's an update. They're cross-referencing the expression in front of them against the library they've built. Asking, somewhere beneath language, is this a version of her I've seen before? And if not, what does it mean? The third happens right after you come home. Not the greeting itself. The spinning, the vocalizing, the absolute chaos of it. Watch what comes after that settles. Usually within 3 to 5 seconds, your dog goes quiet and just looks at your face, scans it, checks it. They're comparing, making sure the person who left this morning is the same person standing in the doorway now. That you are still you. And the fourth, the one that tends to get people the most, once they know to look for it, happens at night. Right before everyone settles in for sleep, your dog looks at you. Not at the room, not toward the door, at your face. One long, quiet look. And then they lie down. It's a closing ritual. A final check before the long gap of the night. In its own way, it might be the most intimate thing they do. How many of those does your dog do? All 4? Probably. They've been doing it for years. You just didn't have the language yet for what you were watching. Here's the part that tends to surprise people most. After everything, the face scanning, the neural architecture, the morning ritual, you'd assume your dog's primary way of knowing you is through sight. That the eyes are the center of it all. They're not. Vision is actually the second layer, the confirmation. What comes first, every single time, is smell. Researchers at the University of Lincoln looked at this directly in 2018. They exposed dogs to a blend of 7 different scents simultaneously. Strangers, other animals, general environmental smells, with the owner's scent buried somewhere inside the mix. The dogs identified and oriented toward their owner's scent in under 3 seconds. Not after careful sniffing, not through a process of elimination. 3 seconds in a field of 7 competing signals. Your dog finds you the way you'd recognize your own name spoken quietly across a loud, crowded room. Instantly, without effort, without a single moment of doubt. And here's what that actually means when you let it land. Your dog knew you before they saw you today. When you came home, still on the other side of the door, key in your hand, bag on your shoulder, your mind still half somewhere else, they already knew. They knew from the shift in air molecules that arrived a few seconds before you did. From the specific chemical signature that is yours alone. Unchanged by a haircut. Unchanged by new perfume. Unchanged by 10 years or 20. You can walk in wearing a mask. You can come home after months away looking nothing like you did when you left. They'll still know it's you before you've taken a single step inside. There is no version of you they would ever mistake for someone else. Now I want to ask you something. And I want you to be honest with yourself about the answer. Because I think a lot of you have felt this and never said it out loud. Have you ever driven home from a long day, one of those days that just took and didn't give much back, and felt somewhere quiet in the back of your mind a worry? Not about whether your dog missed you. You know they missed you. Something smaller than that. Something more specific. Something that sounds a little like, do they know it's me they're missing? Or are they just waiting for whoever shows up with the food bowl? Does it actually matter to whatever is happening inside that small, warm brain that it's specifically me coming through that door? It matters. It matters completely. At a biological level, that leaves no room for ambiguity. In documented cases of dogs reunited with owners after separations of 2 years, 3 years, even 5, the recognition isn't gradual. It isn't built back up through reintroduction. It's immediate. The caudate nucleus, that reward center that lights up for your scent above everything else, doesn't have a decay function for the people it loves. It doesn't file you under things that used to matter. You stay current. You stay primary. All those hours you spend away from them, the whole ordinary shape of your day happening somewhere they can't see, none of that erodes what they're holding of you. They just wait, keeping the full weight of who you are intact until you come back. You are not just loved by your dog. You are encoded into them, written in a language no other human will ever read. When you really understand that, something shifts. That guilt, and if you felt it, you know exactly what I mean. That particular ache of closing the door while they're still watching you go. That guilt starts to look different. Not because leaving is easy for them. It isn't, and we both know that. But because you are not forgettable, not replaceable. The dog watching the door isn't waiting for a person. They're waiting for you. The specific, irreplaceable, neurologically encoded you. The one their brain has been quietly updating and storing and protecting for years. There's one more thing I want to tell you, and I want to say it gently, because some of you watching this have older dogs. Dogs who move a little slower now, who sleep more, who seem sometimes like they're somewhere slightly far away. There's a condition in aging dogs called canine cognitive dysfunction, and one of its earliest signs can be something that's genuinely hard to witness. Your dog stands right in front of you and looks at you with eyes that don't quite land. Eyes that seem to be searching for something they can't locate. Sometimes they'll startle when you approach, or bark at someone they've lived with for years, as though the face didn't register as familiar. The face recognition system, that specialized architecture that took 15,000 years to build, can be affected by cognitive decline, the same way it can in people. If you notice this in your dog, please talk to your vet. There's support available, and many dogs respond well when it's caught early. But here's what I also need you to hear. The scent system is older than the face system. Deeper, more primitive, more resistant to what time does to the brain. In dogs experiencing cognitive decline, olfactory memory, the part that knows your smell, tends to hold on longer than almost any other form of recognition. which means that even in the hardest moments, even when the eyes seem uncertain and the face doesn't land, you can sit beside your dog and let him smell your hand, your sleeve, the fabric of your shirt that's been in your closet, carrying you, and something in them will still know. Not perfectly, not the way it used to be, but something. The oldest part of what they learned about you, still there, still answering. Go back to this morning, to 6:47 a.m., to that stillness at the edge of the bed. You know now what was actually happening in that quiet. A brain shaped by 15,000 years of learning to know you, running its daily confirmation. A caudate nucleus holding your scent at the very top of everything it values above food, above other dogs, above almost anything else the day will offer. A creature that has memorized your face, your smell, the specific rhythm of your breathing when you're still asleep, holding all of it carefully. Like something worth keeping. You worried, maybe, that you weren't doing enough? That all those hours away had added up to something that looked like abandonment from the inside of a quiet house. You are not that story. You never were. The dog who watches your face every morning isn't doing it from anxiety or need or some wound that never closed. They're doing it because you are the most known thing in their world. Because you are the point their brain returns to again and again just to confirm that everything is still intact. You are not just someone they love. You are the place they come from. And every morning, before the alarm, before the coffee, before any of it, they check to make sure you're still there. Because to them, you are the whole landscape of home. There's a particular kind of forgetting that happens to us. We lose the small things first. What we wore on a Tuesday 3 weeks ago. What song was playing on a drive we took 100 times. The quality of some ordinary afternoon that felt, while we were inside it, like it would always be there. We're not built to hold everything. We filter. We compress. We let things go to make room for what comes next. Your dog doesn't do this with you. Long after we've forgotten the small things, what we wore, what we said, what our face looked like before the years started to show, the dog at our feet will still remember the exact shape of our face in the morning light. Not as something they have to reach back for, as something present, something they carry the way we carry our own names without trying, without effort, as a simple fact of what they are. That's what you are to them. Not a chapter, not a season, a constant. And if that's true, and the science says it is, then the most ordinary moments between you and your dog aren't ordinary at all. The glance across the room first thing in the morning. The greeting when you come through the door. That quiet look they give you right before they close their eyes at night. These aren't small gestures happening at the edges of your life. They're the record being kept. The ongoing act of a creature choosing, again and again, to memorize you. You were chosen for that. You still are. And if you've ever noticed something in the way your dog looks into your eyes, something that feels different from how they look at anyone